This is a tablet. Gabii.
Hi, this is Troy.
And Matt, we're here to provide you with some basic information on the use of tablets and our digital recording system known as the Archaeological Resource Kit, or ARC for short.
Each morning your supervisor will pick up your area's tablets. You should turn it on and open a Mozilla Firefox browser and open the ARC tab in the upper left-hand corner of the browser. This will take you to this home screen. The login info should all be in the ARC already saved on the browser, but if not, talk to your supervisors. All you have to do is push the login button and it'll take you to this screen. Once you're on this screen, make sure you're in data entry mode. What we're going to cover today is entering info in the Stratigraphic Unit tab, or SU. This is the primary work you're going to be doing in the field. You'll see on the left the different things that you can select. Select SU and make sure you're in an SU form. Click on that and you're given this new bar. You'll enter the number for your SU. This will be given to you by your supervisor. Here we're going to use SU 9998 just as a test. Type it in and click on the drop down to go to your SU. Every single unit we excavate is given its own separate entry and its own form that's basically like this. There's a lot of different options on these forms. We're only going to go over some of them here. The important thing to note is that if you have any questions, be sure to ask in the field. This will just be a very rough breakdown. Some of these things you're going to fill out in the field, while other things will be filled out by other departments such as fines, topography, etc. So if you don't know what to do, always feel free to ask. One of the most important things is always be sure to save. You'll see a lot of save and submit buttons here. For example, these highlighted. Be sure to click those every time, otherwise you're going to lose your data. Always click save and submit. Okay, we'll get started with definition. We're not going to get too complicated here. At least to begin with, definition will be given to you by your supervisors. It is what it sounds like, how we define the SU you're going to excavate. Here I'm just writing SU test for video. We'll get into this more in the field. Moving on to the next entry, it's formation process. How the SU you're going to excavate was made. You can have construction like a wall, cutting like a trench, collapse if the wall fell down, intentional deposition like a burial. You'll get a handle of this as the summer goes on, but it's always worth thinking about how did the archaeology get where it is. When you're finished with both of these, be sure to push save each time. The next three entries are not something you will ever do unless you're working with the Fines Lab. This is the Fines Lab territory. Don't touch their territory. We don't do approximate date of layer observations, or chronological period until we've looked at the pottery, so don't worry about that. The final thing is stratigraphic reliability. That you're only going to do after you've excavated, once you see what the relationship between this SU and the things below and above it. If it's very clear, it's good. If it's not, it's fair or poor. Again, this is something you'll get a handle on when you're dealing with the actual archaeology. Now we're on to more basic info. Again, some more stuff we have to fill out. You're going to start with the year. This is really straightforward. The year will be 2015. Unfortunately, that's not an option right now, how the ARC is set up, but by this summer you'll be able to select 2015. It will always be 2015, I think. It's pretty easy. Next will be area and sector. You'll find out what area you're working in the first day on site. So you'll know that and it'll be pretty consistent throughout, unless we're moving you around a little. Sector is also pretty easy. For sector, there's never a sector. You don't fill that out. Again, once you've selected options for area and not for sector, push submit. Always push submit. The next option is SU type. Is your SU natural, created by nature, or anthropic, man-made? Is it just a deposit, or is it some kind of wall or floor surface? You'll get a handle for this in the field. Here I'm going to select anthropic because this video is in fact man-made. And once I do that, I'll move on. Next is how the layer is distinguished. We have three options here: color, composition, or compaction. Color is pretty easy. Composition, what is in the layer. Compaction, how hard or soft the layer is. You can pick more than one option, so if all three are the case, all three can be selected. Again, once you're working in the field, this will be pretty straightforward. We hit submit, as we always do, and we move on. Elevation min and max, you're not going to do it. Our friends in the topography department, mostly Matt, will do this for us. Thank topography every time you see them for doing that for us. Now we move on. The next four options are dealing with how we record the SUs we excavate. This is, again, pretty straightforward. We always photo model. So click it once on the not set, it'll say yes. We always take photos. Again, click it once, it goes to yes. Perfect. We rarely ever draw an elevation or draw in cross-section. So you click it not once, but twice, and it'll come up with no. And that's what we do for these. There we go, no. We're done with 2 tabs. We can now move on to tab number 3. I'm not actually going to walk you through every single tab, just the ones that have kind of weird data entry things. So that's why we're going to move next to inclusions. This is what is actually in the layer. And again, the interface here is a little different. You have 3 options: anthropic, geological, and organic inclusions. We're going to start with anthropic. You have all these different options, and you can select the various material you'll find on site. One thing is you can select more than one option. So let's say you found metal, you also found pottery, you also found amphora and basalt slabs. You can select all of them, push submit, as we always do, and they're all going to pop up and give a frequency that you can fill out: rare, frequent, or medium. For each different class of artifact, you'll select a frequency, hit submit every time, hit submit every time, and you can move on and do the same for geological or organic inclusions. There are various other tabs that we're not going to talk about here. To finish up, 2 more things. First, interpretation. Once you've finished excavating the unit, you need to interpret what you've done. Here, you'll fill in something in this box. Here, I'm just going to put something basic because this is a video SU, not a real thing. You'll go over this with your supervisors in the field. You'll get a hang of this pretty quickly, hopefully. Once you fill in that box, you need to say who this interpretation is done by. So you select this drop-down menu and go to your name. Your names will all be entered here over the course of the season. Here I go, finding myself, Troy Samuels, there we go, and select the date. You can just push now, that goes right to the date today. So here's the date when I was making this video. Again, click save every time. There you go. It's important to know that after you've done an interpretation, instead of going back and changing it, we want you to do new interpretations. So we kind of have a record of every different interpretation of this SU. Now, one final thing, which is record events. You've now finished all the excavation that's going to take place in the SU. The whole form is filled out, all these different things we haven't covered here. You need to record the specific records to show us when and by whom this was finished by. So, issued to, this will be probably done by your supervisor, but filled out by, this is where you're going to put your own name. Here I'm putting myself. Now, again, every time push save. I can't say that enough. Always push save. Revised by will be filled out by your supervisors. PDF by is a relic of when we were using paper, so now it's not necessarily something you need to do. Entered by, again, a relic of when we were using paper and entering after the fact, but I'll still put it, put myself here. Redundancy here can be a good thing. The important things are these last 2. So SU closed. If we are completely done, say yes. If not, say no, but usually you're going to say yes here, so we know when we finish doing things in that particular stratigraphic unit. And if there's a structure that's removed, again, you do the same thing. So this is the basics of how you fill out an SU form. Obviously, we're going to go over a lot more when you're at Gabii in the field. Hopefully this has been helpful, and I look forward to seeing you all in a couple of weeks.